Start the record. So I said the prayer without the recording on. Oh, well, it's okay. We prayed. It was beautiful. You would have loved it. For those who are joining us on the replay and those who are just joining us, I was saying to the ladies that were here early that I am going to be talking a little more than I normally do. Because there have been some heavy duty healings going on. And I feel that they are so associated with what the reading was for this week. So I hope y'all don't mind. But I am going to start us off with our reading, which we are in chapter 25, section 5, the state of sinlessness. Which was so helpful for me to read this week. And I'm going to read paragraphs 1 and 2. The state of sinlessness is merely this: the whole desire to attack is gone, and so there is no reason to perceive the Son of God as other than he is. The need for guilt is gone because it has no purpose and is meaningless without the goal of sin. Attack and sin are bound as one illusion, each the cause and aim and justifier of the other. Each is meaningless alone, but seems to draw a meaning from the other. Each depends upon the other for whatever sense it seems to have, and no one could believe one unless the other were true. For each attests the other must be true. Let's turn my light up a little bit. Attack makes Christ your enemy, and God along with him. Must you not be afraid with enemies like these? And must you not be fearful of yourself? For you have hurt yourself and made yourself your enemy. And now you must believe you are not you, but something alien to yourself and something else, a something to be feared instead of loved. Who would attack whatever he perceives as wholly innocent? And who, because he wishes to attack, can fail to think he must be guilty to maintain the wish while wanting innocence? For who could see the Son of God as innocent and wish him dead? Christ stands before you both. Each time you look upon your brother, he has not gone because your eyes are closed. But what is there to see by searching for your Savior, seeing him through sightless eyes? So, yeah, there's just a lot there. And
so Linda, this kind of brought up a question for me. And first of all, I found it very freeing to have him call guilt and sin both illusions. But I'm wondering, the way he talks there, is he saying that it's guilt that initiates attack?
yes, absolutely. Yeah, it is. Okay. It's a cycle. Carla's doing the round, her finger okay. Round and round. It is. It's cyclical. So it's guilt, blame, shame, attack. Guilt, blame, shame, attack. And so an example that I would like to share with you is over the last few weeks, I had an experience with a friend of mine that was very challenging for me. And I've known this friend for a long time. We've been very close friends. But I had all of these judgments coming up around some things that happened. And so I asked this person, or basically I told this person that I needed to take a break from our friendship. And because I wanted to figure out why all these judgments were coming up. I mean, I was feeling like I never want to see this person again, which shocked and appalled me. Um, and but I knew that it was my judgments, and that I could do my own work around it to discover what was really going on. So I told this person I was going to be stepping away and kind of like not contacting them for a while. And I had this premonition, this insight that if I spoke to this person, that would be the end of our friendship. And I did not wish for that to happen. So when I reached out to this person and said that I was just going to take a break for a little while, I wasn't sure how long. I'm doing my work around my judgments, and you know, I'm just letting you know so you don't think that I've fallen off the face of the earth. And they reached out to me immediately. And even though I expressed several times that I did not wish to let them know what was going on inside my mind, because I knew they were my judgments. It had nothing to do with the other person. They pressed and pressed and pressed. And like after the fourth or fifth time, I just blew. And I spewed all of my judgments all over her. Like it was like the rage and the hate that came out of my mouth was appalling. And after I hung up, I just was like, well, you made that premonition come true, didn't you? So, but I'm still doing my work because I would like to see if this friendship can be mended. I know it will never be the same because of what I did, because of what I said. But my intention when I spewed all that was, if I just said one or two things that happened, that they wouldn't understand the depth of my pain and discomfort and what was going on, why I felt it necessary to disconnect for a while. And so I've done one of the Byron Katie worksheets, Judge Your Neighbor. And God, I put that off like for almost a whole week, and was self-medicating and, like doing housework, anything that I could think of to avoid doing it. Because in my mind, I was saying, I don't want to do that for this person because this person doesn't deserve my forgiveness, was one thing. And then on the other side was, I don't want to do that for myself because I don't deserve my own forgiveness. But I did it finally on Saturday. And what came up for me, well, what came up around the whole situation when I had a spiritual counseling session, was that I had expectations that I was not aware of in my own mind. That this person was going to help me heal or comfort me from the loss of my mother and everything that happened after that, taking care of her property and stuff. And so I was seeing myself as sinless. I was seeing this other person as sinless. And once I finally did that letter, I realized that I was the one that was attacking, because when when my expectations were not being fulfilled, my ego was looking for every example of why this person was bad, wrong, whatever, because my needs were not being fulfilled. So I have to say it's been a very humbling experience. And like I said, I don't know what the future will bring, but I do know that I am slowly releasing my self-judgments, even though I am still appalled by the veracity of what came out of my mouth. I have a sense that it was something like an agreement that we made before we came into this lifetime, that there's some kind of healing going on for them as well as for me. And mine is around not speaking my needs and desires and not even being aware of what my needs and desires are. Not sure what the other person is learning, and that's okay. You know, that's her thing. So there's that. The other thing that happened over the last week is, and I talked about this a little bit last week, but my friend Mary, who took in a infant from a mother that was drug addicted, and he was born with many different mental and physical disorders because of it. And he passed away a week ago Monday. And what has come up for me around that is kind of similar what's coming up for me around the experience that I had in the other instance, because what is happening is I'm realizing the judgments that really need to be let go. And what kept popping into my head throughout the last week or so was a song from Cat Stevens called "The Boy with the Moon and Star on His Head." I don't know if any of you are familiar with it, but basically, the song talks about how he's walking on his way to his wedding, and a woman approaches him and says, "You're the person who I'm supposed to give my body to." And he does. And you could judge that as, you know, oh my gosh, he's having sex with somebody before he's getting married to supposedly the love of his life. And then several months later, a basket appears on his door with this little baby boy with a moon and star on his head. And he accepts this child into his life. Apparently, I'm thinking his wife does too, because he doesn't speak to that at all, but that's okay. And he's talking about how, you know, people had never seen anything like this boy with the moon and star on his head. And so the thing that it reminded me of is my friend Mary taking in this child that you could say came from a place that you would judge as bad. That he was born to a mother and father, they were not together, that were drug addicts, and how such horrible things that we could imagine, and the way that he was brought into this world as far as having all of these physical and mental challenges. Like he barely could speak a sentence or even words. And he was 11 years old when he passed. But he was such a loving child, and every person that came in contact with him, you could not help but feel that complete innocence and love, because he would look at every single person that he saw with these eyes like, you are the most beautiful person I have ever seen in my life. He had that look on his face for everybody he came in contact with, and was completely open-hearted all the time. even though he couldn't hold himself up because he didn't have the musculature in his core, and he couldn't speak his needs because his brain could not function to make the words come out. He was such a demonstration of love. And in the song, Cat Stevens talks about how, as the boy with the moon and star grew up, and people would arrive from far and wide just to hear the words that he said. And at the end, he says, I'll tell you everything I've learned. And love is all he said. So the judgments, let them go. Let them go. The judgments about yourself, the judgments about others. Only love is real. Thanks for letting me share all that. Carla, go ahead.
So, thank you for bringing all this to the light, because that is how I was healed, by bringing it to the light and not letting go of any judgment, self-criticism, self-judgment, self-unforgiveness, whatever. It's all about self anyhow. Everything is about self. And what you read and what you talked about is something that I think I've shared with you, that is attack possible. And it says, the whole thing is like a page and a half. I won't read it here, but I've read parts of it. No, attack is not possible. And what I've realized, and it's taken me 5 years I'm still not fully living it, is I realize we are spirit. The spirit that we ask for answers, we are that. That is the truth of us. We are just having this physical experience. That is not us. And so I realized that thoughts, the ego has gotten was supposed to be a tool for us to navigate this world form. Run when danger comes up, stop and look, stop at a stop red light or stop sign so you don't get hit. Look before you cross the road. You may not want to eat that berry, it made you sick last week. That was the original purpose of ego. And we've created it into something else. And it also needs to be loved back to original purpose. It's not bad. We created a monster. I don't use that word. And blame the monster when we created it. And that too is about self-forgiveness, because everything is about self-forgiveness. Let's see if I can read one. Okay. And this is it. I've realized this. Everything, every thought comes from God. Every true thought comes from God. Everything else is illusion, and it's offered to us by the false self, ego, whatever you call it. And I realized this. I don't have to believe every single frigging thought. If it's not love, if it's not loving, it's not, there's many aspects of love. Willingness is an aspect of love. Forgiveness is an aspect of love. Patience is an aspect of love. Everything is love. There is nothing else. There is nothing else, really. So when those thoughts were offered us, I realized I get to choose to accept it or not. That's when it becomes mine. It's not mine until I agree with it, I accept it, and I take it on and start judging myself. That's when it's mine. Now, I'll read this. Two little things. If you accept that you are attacking being attacked or seeing attack, you will have the perception of you will have the experience of attack because you have requested it through your perception. What you ask for is given you always. If you see that temptation or the opportunity to perceive attack, but choose to let that opportunity pass you by, which is what you were doing with several times, this friend, but they wanted you, I feel they wanted you to experience something that's most healing. Sometimes we have to go down to the darkest place and bring it to the light for the healing to really occur. So if you see the temptation to perceive attack, but you choose to let the opportunity pass you by refusing to accept the perception, you request the miracle. The miracle is not really a miracle at all, because it is a truer way of perceiving its little print, which is seeing that there is no attack, because there is only love. When we think there's something else, we make it true by our essence. So notice the mind. The mind is the part of the mind, or the part of the mind that thinks it is separate, interprets all that is experienced by, and makes up stories about that which is experienced, and then it offers it to you, like pukes it up, and would you accept it or not? You wouldn't accept puke, right? No, clean it up, let it go. It's put in the trash. No, don't accept the puke. You don't want that. You only want love. And so that's what I'm realizing. It's not that I'm so great. That's all I'm choosing. No, it's the I am, which is God with God, keeps offering me an opportunity. And I'm going to talk for a while, but I'm going to share one more thing. I think a couple people have heard this. It's called, I called it the I love you poem. I love you. I do not love you because you agree with me. I do not love you because we have similar values. I do not love you because you give me anything. I do not love you because I want anything from you. I do not love you because I just love you. And in this world, I must love you because I always get that sentence wrong. But and if in this world I must love you because I love you because you do not give up yourself or your values to or for me. I love you because you do not need to make me happy or for me to make you happy. I love you because you remember that you do not need to give me anything for me to be whole. I love you because I love me. And as I fill my own self with love, it overflows onto you. I love you for what you truly are. Not for your choices, not for what you seem to think you do, but who you truly are. Maybe not what you or some in this world, you is the ego, really. believes you to be. I love you just as you are. As I love myself. Who wrote that? I am. Gave that to me. I am loved. You, Linda, are loved. No matter what seemed to happen, you are innocent. You're learning to be God. Because you're the I am in form. A baby doesn't walk the first time it stands up, it falls down a lot. We're just falling down to walk. Babies don't give up. They don't say, oh, I can't walk, it's useless. No, you're gonna walk. You cannot fail. I know I cannot fail, and we are one. So that's all I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. Love you. Hamira.
Thank you so much, Linda and Carla. Sorry, my camera's not on. I'm actually getting ready for work. Carla, that poem was beautiful, and I just always love how Spirit works through you to lift all of us up. You really have a gift with words. Linda, now I know why from the very moment I spoke to you, I chose you as one of my teachers. You truly are a teacher of God. The sharing, the level of sharing with the level of vulnerability, authenticity, that you share gives me permission to do the same, that, we're all walking on this path towards God, but that other conditioned part of us sometimes takes over, and to be loving and gentle with ourselves and not crucify ourselves because that happens. So I so appreciate that. I just wanted to ask you a quick question. At the end of what you were saying, your story was so beautiful and I was taking every word in, but you cut out on my end when you were talking about the song. And then when you referenced the boy that your friend had, and you said something about love at the end and I missed that. Do you remember? Can you repeat that possibly?
Yeah. Well, so the song is Cat Stevens, The Boy with the Moon and Star on His Head. And yeah, my friend Mary took in that baby when he was just a couple weeks old, and she had to fight for him. His mother died from an epileptic seizure, which is what took Niger in the end as well. And his grandmother, his paternal grandmother, who his father didn't really have anything to do with him, took her to court for years. Mary had to pay out of pocket to fight to keep this child. And eventually, after like 5 or 6 years, was able to adopt him. So the song said that people came by from far and wide just to speak the word he said. And people came from all over to see Niger and Mary. And the song says, the boy says to the people that came from far and wide, I'll tell you everything I've learned. And love is all he said.
Oh, I just got chills from my head to my toes. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for repeating that.
Yeah. My pleasure. Thank you, Humira. Who else would like to share today? Go ahead, Nancy Gal.
Thank you so much, Linda. Well, like I said in the chat, I was a driver for 15 years for a medical motor service. And I call them, we have different kinds of clientele that, you could put them in categories, or like I call them like departments or something. Nobody else did that, but foster care. When I was hired, it was basically to transport foster care children, to from school, from their foster home, from their daycare, whatever, we have a special building where it's called the visitation center. It's just for that it's like the neutral place. You can the child can go there, and then the parent can go there. And their visits are monitored and everything. And all different ages, and baby, the youngest child I ever transported was a week old, just babe, totally. Anyway, but over the years, it was children just like Nigerians, and it's like, and so when you first the thing last week, and I said I knew instantly. It was I feel instantly. I said everything that song and everything you said, and the same thing with your friend, the other friend, has been happening with me since I moved here. It's like I thought I made a mistake, and it was like just before class started, it's like I realized yesterday and the last few days, it's like all these healings are coming up for me. Well, major healing and all these different things. And I realized yesterday, it's like, no, this morning, actually, I realized why I came here, why I hurt my knee, 3 years ago after Gina died, and why I had to quit. That was the job I absolutely loved all 15 years. Until the last few months, and everything was changing. And why I actually am here. And I left everything. I mean, I was like half a mile between hospitals, 1/16 of a mile across from my doctors, my dad, all of that, it's all gone. I have none of that here. Completely culture shock. And so last night, it was like the last few days, it was like, why am I here? It's like, I don't want to be here. It's like, it's just, and then yesterday and last night and this morning, it's like, oh, okay. Makes sense now. I understand. From reading from the reading for today. And it's like, but the same thing with me and David, it's the friendship. And it's like, and when Carla, was what you just read. It's like everybody, it's like, it was forbidden. I wasn't allowed to have a friend. On my marriage, I was not allowed to have friends. And I would make friends, and then I remember one time when I was pregnant with Amy, go to the obstetrician, for your appointment. You sit in the waiting room and you make friends. I made friends. And she came over one time. I had borrowed a bassinet from her, and she came to get it back, after me. And Will came home when she was there, and he threw her out of the house, and he was yelling at her. So, you gotta be kidding! This is the person I've been married to all this. And that was the way my life. I was like surrounded by this wall that kept me from loving people and from getting their love. And so anyway, the point of this all is, Carla, back to David, he's still here with us. And he's done this new treatment thing, which he just had the scan yesterday. And it's working. And it's working. And it's like, I don't know if he'll be completely healed, but he made it through the first year of Abby's, his daughter's autistic, high functioning autistic, her first year of college. She just started her second year of college. and he's still here. And what Carla, when you said that, what you read, you love him, you love of because of who he is, or I'm putting him in there. That's the way. There was no judgment. That's the whole basis of our friendship. There was no judgment. I didn't expect anything from him, and he didn't have to change anything about him for me. And it's like, and when you read that, Carla, oh my gosh, I said, yes, that's what our friendship is. And lately I've been angry with him because he's sick and, maybe passing. And I've been angry about that. And I said, so anyway, but this whole week, just the last couple of weeks, I've had all this tremendous realizations in, what is it, Joel Goldsmith is, or whatever is, all it takes the time, doesn't take any time except the time it takes to have a realization of the truth. And it's like, oh, and then it just, that's all that has to happen. Just realize. That's why we're here, to remember. It's like, okay, so what do I have to do now? But it's just so amazing. So thank you, Linda. I think we're all on this same, what is it? We're all in the same boat. We're all rising and whatever, up and down. It's like, thank you. I'm glad that I'm in the same boat with you. It's like, and I'm glad that it's this environment that Jennifer has created, if you want to say, that where the judgment is not allowed. It's not allowed.
Even the self-judgment.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm trying to figure out it's like, it's at least 10 years ago when I came into this, when I met Jennifer, whatever, for the prayer. And all these years, and it's taken all this time for me to actually trust, to open my mouth and be seen. And it's not perfect, but oh my gosh. I'm going to stop now because, I'll go on forever. But so thank you for sharing, Linda.
Yeah. Thank you, Nancy.
And I kind of, all right. Thanks.
Thank you. Melita and then Gwen.
Hi. Thank you, Nancy Gail. And thank you, Linda, for being so honest with us and vulnerable, and sharing your healing with us is such a gift. So thank you. Thank you. I feel a little nervous right now. I'm not sure why, but I wanted to read the end of the last chapter. So I'm going to read that. Look once again upon your brother, not without the understanding that he is the way to heaven or to hell, as you perceive him. But forget not this, the role you give to him is given you, and you will walk the way you pointed out to him, because it is your judgment on yourself. Oh, I mean, this is my first go around with this chapter and this, Course in Miracles. So this is my first time reading it. And I'm hearing this often, right? This concept, but I think it's just feeling really clear that what I'm thinking about somebody else is my thoughts of myself. And Carla talking about, these thoughts that are offered to us, we don't have to take them. So it just feels really profound to me that it's almost like here's my science brain, but it's almost like a biofeedback system. Like, do you want to know what you're thinking about yourself? Well, what are you thinking about him? Look at that person over there. What do you see? Okay, that's what you see about yourself. So that's sort of what my brain is, or what my feelings are. Is it's just such a gift. With that said, I don't think a lot of nice things about a lot of people. So I got some healing to do. I feel like I can go one day where I love everyone and everything, and then the next day I just I got gobbles about my husband and my kids. And so, yeah, it's kind of a roller coaster right now for that. But I think it's, at least I can see, you know, what I'm thinking. And I think that's a gift. So, yeah. So, thank you so much.
Thank you, Melita. I know I have that sense too. It feels it's like there's dual personalities. Yeah. Ugh. Gwen.
So thank you, Linda. I'm trying not, I'm really emotional. I have a sister-in-law that's ready to transition. And I've been spending some time, and I probably go and spend some evenings overnight to help because my niece has no one else to help. And I just wanted to acknowledge your sharing, Linda, because we are all the teacher and the student, and we're here to support and love one another. And the more we can be free and open, allow these things to come to surface, the more we help heal ourselves, one another, in the world. And it just makes such a huge difference. I really want to honor and thank you for that. And I just so appreciate what everyone says. Carla's words were just so beautiful. And Nancy Gale about friendship. And it was interesting. I was just feeling, I have a new friend I've made online, and someone I would never come in contact with, who used to be a monk. You know, so he's had several things and been in Congress and what have you. And the depth of sharing what I'm having with this person I have not met yet, you know, we're going to be speaking on the phone, is just so incredibly deep, and it's spiritual things. I am so incredibly humbled, I can hardly say. And I'm just so appreciative to being here and part of this group. It's just, everyone is so beautiful and has such wonderful things to share. And I just want to say thank you. And I have to go back to work, so I'm going to leave, but thank you so much.
Thank you, Gwen. Sending love to you and your sister-in-law. She's such a blessing that she has you. Chris.
I think subconsciously I don't want to understand, because I always ask this question, what you see in someone else, or what you have a problem with in someone else, is really in you.
Mm-hmm.
Can you, Linda, or anyone, I don't know, I have to figure that out. I have glimpses of figuring it out, but then I just think it's very important for me to understand that. So appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. And just in the instance that I was talking about with my friend, I can give examples. So when it became apparent to me that this friend was not here to comfort me and heal me, and again, I did not even realize that I had that expectation, but was displaying her own prickliness coming from a wounded place. And my ego was perceiving it as a diva, you know, with all of these high demands. And so her prickliness was actually mirroring to me my own prickliness, because when it became clear to me that she was not there to fill my expectations, my ego went into a mode of being like a cornered animal, like with teeth and claws out. I'm looking for every stinking thing that this person is going to do and say that is going to prove to me that I am right, that she's being a diva, that she's being selfish, that she's you know, being ridiculous with her demands. Like that veracity was how my ego was reacting to not getting what it wanted. And so everything that I was seeing in her, every prickly thing that I was perceiving that was in her was actually in me, was actually my prickly ego that was not getting what it wanted. Seeing that prickliness and that neediness coming out in her. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes. Yeah, that was a very simple way of explaining that. Because I have a situation with my daughter-in-law, and you know, there's certain things she does, and I just get like, ah. And I really want to understand that concept, because you're right. There I am, like you. I'm like a cornered animal, and I spew out all this stuff as soon as she leaves, and I am happy to say how horrible she is. It just makes it, you know, and I don't want to do that. And
Yeah.
I may be doing it in my mind, but I can take that away. So for you to say that I'm behaving, or whatever you want to call it, just like she is, by that after she leaves, that's starting to make sense to me. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, Chris, a friend of mine that I had talked to about this situation sent me a meme early on that said something like, my soul chose to come here to spread love and uplift humanity. But also me is, I hate everyone.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
so there's that contrast. And I can remember fellow student of Masterful Living earlier when I first started studying with Jennifer, who had some real challenges with her daughter-in-law. And to the point where she was thinking she was gonna like not be able to see her son and their children and all of that. And as she worked on releasing her judgments about her, she actually had a conversation, a brief, very brief conversation with her daughter-in-law when they were at a family function, like a giant family gathering, where they just happened to be standing next to each other. And she felt prompted to apologize to her daughter-in-law, for all of the judgments that she had been placing on her, and for not accepting her exactly as she is and loving her exactly where she was. And her daughter-in-law admitted to her that she was trying so hard to impress her and get her love. And she had this idea in her own mind that there was absolutely nothing that she could do that would make her happy. That's what she came to the relationship with.
I love that, because I bet you, that has come into my mind just a little bit. So for you to give me this story is something that I will definitely be thinking of.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
I'm so
welcome.
glad I asked that question.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, I know that you will be able to heal this, and we're all
Thank
here
you.
to help hold you up.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Suzanne and then Nancy Gale.
Thanks, Linda. Thank you, Chris, for what you had to say. I'm coming around to that too, Chris. I could totally relate. It was such a shocker to me when I first heard that concept, in context with my family that I live together. And a lot of you know that I'm in a multi-generational home, 3 generations, my son, my sister, myself, and our super aging parents. And I am so grateful that after, I guess this is my 3rd year in Masterful Living. So, Chris, if this makes you feel any better, 3rd year of Masterful Living, 3rd year of Course in Miracles. finally had a shift in that perception of my four family members that I thought were the source of all of my problems. And part of the hesitation or whatever that slowed that down was my fear that I could not possibly live with myself if I realized that it was me and not them. That the guilt would surely take me down and take me out. I would not be able to live through that incredibly strong sense of unhappiness with them. And the shift was this, and it wasn't from, this specific magic word I said or anything. It's just, it was an aha thing. And it was like a shift happened. And I saw, especially with my parents and my sister, I was able to see and understand that what I was projecting to them was on me. And that actually what had been happening in my family was a lot of love and forgiveness of me, because my attitude and judgments toward them was not coming back to me. I was not being met when I would criticize, or mainly I'm annoyed. Annoyance is mine. Annoyance and frustration were my two go-tos. And it could be something as little as somebody left a cup in the sink, and I thought it was their responsibility to put it in the sink. Now, I'm a terrible housekeeper. It's not like I'm OCD. There's no logic to it. Ego, there's no logic to ego, but I was so grateful. What happened when that shift came was not guilt, but relief. And a lesson to learn from them. From them, I'm not teaching them, they were teaching me. And that was that they were able to show me great grace and kindness, overlooking so many times that I would have returned with such judgment. And so it's been like, I look at them now, it's only been a couple of weeks, but I look at them now like with these eyes, I want to just tell them I'm sorry all the time, but not in a guilt way. I just want to say, listen, I just want y'all to know, I know you're not the problem. I just want you to know, it doesn't mean that I have become this wonderful person. It's not that, it's all gone. But when the irritation comes up now, I'm like, oh wait, that's not my mother. It's not her at all. Look at her loving you through these years. Look at your dad and your sister knowing exactly what you were up to and still loving you. And so what is it they say? I mean, they are our teachers. I never got that. I got it that they were your teachers to show you what was wrong with you. No. It's just show you where the good is, and you just follow that, so. But I'm living with it, and I'm still self-medicating pretty heavy right now, but I am coming out of it. I'm coming out of it. And so it's a miracle. It's a miracle.
Yeah, thank you, Suzanne. And thank you for demonstrating how they are showing you and how my friend was showing me, and now how I'm willing and ready to show to myself how worthy I am of love, no matter what. It's unconditional. It's unconditional. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, Nancy Gale, quickly, and then Linda and Humira.
Yeah, Suzanne just basically said what I was going to say. But the main thing I was thinking with Chris and with you, with all of us, is that the thing that keeps, because I'm like, been like Chris. It's like, it's taken me years and years and years just to even speak. The whole thing is about the judgment, the self-judgment, not wanting to what you said, Suzanne, not being able to live through seeing the or thinking
Not be
that
able
oh, this one.
to
You know, if I actually accept that, I couldn't handle that, and that's the self-judgment. I think that's the thing that is the, what do you call it? It's the key that keeps the lock locked. So yeah, that's all I want to say. That if we could get rid of that piece,
Yes.
we'd be home free.
Yep. Thanks, Nancy Gale. Yeah, we can't live with ourselves if we don't love these people that are helping us. Linda Kay, did you still want to share? I saw you lowered your hand.
I think it's maybe a little too long of what I wanted to share. I think I'll maybe talk with you offline. Thank you.
Okay, honey. Hamira.
Yeah, Linda, I just had the quick question, and I don't know if it's so quick, so if you don't want to answer, that's okay. But you said in your share that because of sort of your vocalization of what you felt to your friend, that it could never be what it was before. And isn't that limiting yourself? Like, isn't it possible that it could even be better with spirit? Like, isn't there a possibility that things can shift and heal?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what I mean by it will never be the same as it was before. It could be in a good way as well as in
I
a negative
gotcha.
way. Yeah,
Oh, okay,
absolutely.
okay. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
at the moment, I'm still in the negative side of it, but I am, I know in every fiber of my being and accept that it could be a holier relationship than we've ever had. I'm willing to accept that too.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. All right, well, we are at the top of the hour, so I'm going to let you know that we'll be continuing in chapter 25, section 6, the special function. I would like to remove that function key, that's for sure. But that's what we're reading for next week, the special function. It just reminds me of a function key on the computer. And I'm going to read from my Pathways of Light lesson insights for lesson number 257, which is let me remember what my purpose is. And how perfect is that? My purpose today and every day is to remember God. My purpose today and every day is to remember my true identity and my brother's true identity. My purpose is to remember that we are still one in God's mind. We have not left God's mind. We are still as God created us. My purpose is to let go of vain imaginings and return to the one truth that is always there. There is only one universal love. God's love is extended to all equally. This is what I would remember today. This is my one goal. Today, I let my mind be healed of all little conflicting goals, which really mean nothing. I have one goal today, and that is to remember that I live only in God's mind. Let me remember what my purpose is. What I really want is God's will for me because I share his will in truth. If I am not experiencing the peace of God, I have chosen or judged against God's will. It is this judgment that must be forgiven or let go of. Judging against the will of God, perceiving it to be different from my own, does not change the reality of what I am, but it does change the experience of what I am. If my desire is to be different, I will reject what is the same and experience being different. By the grace of God, the reality of what I am does not change. I need only cease my judgment against God, and I will know myself, capital S, as I was created. If I perceive myself as being attacked, this simply reflects my belief that I can attack and therefore be attacked. This stems from the core belief that I have attacked God by judging against or rejecting his will. What I believe people do to me is what I believe God would do to me, because it is what I believe that I did to God. The nature of projection is that first we look within, and what we believe we are, we project onto others and onto God. As I forgive or let go of my judgment against God, I can see him as the love he is, and thus see myself as the love I am. Thus, my purpose in this world is to forgive or let go of my judgments against love. Thus, I clear the way to return to full awareness of myself as love and nothing else. Let me remember my purpose today. Thank you, everybody. Thank you again for letting me share so much today.
Thank you, Linda. It's
Thank you.
beautiful.
It was
you, Hamira.
beautiful. It was
Thank you.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you,
Deborah.
Linda. Thank you, everyone. That was so wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your heart, Linda. Thank you.
Aw, thank you, Robin. Thank you, Saskia. Love y'all.
Yes.
See you soon.